Born to Build podcast.
Welcome to Born to Build, conversations with the builders, founders, and pioneers driving change from the ground up. Today on Born to Build, I'm joined by Terine Lott-Cupido, founder of EmpowerLink Services, an HR consulting business based in Cape Town. After 15 years in HR across multinational manufacturing and automotive industries, Terine took the leap in 2016 to start her own business, driven by a desire to make a meaningful impact in the SME space, where she believes HR expertise is most needed. She's passionate about equipping entrepreneurs with the right people, processes, and systems to scale successfully. And along the way, she's earned multiple accolades, very impressive, including the Western Cape Government Entrepreneurship Recognition Award, and also participated in international mentorship programs, all the while growing her own business and team. I'm so excited to unpack your journey and hear your insights on building your business. Yeah, so Terine, welcome. Welcome to Born to Build.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's great to be here, and hopefully I can share some snippets of my story that will inspire people to take their leap of faith. Thank you.
So to set the stage a little bit, tell me about the moment that you realized human resources and specifically empowering SMEs was your calling.
Well, it was in 2016, mid-May, while I was on maternity leave. I was at the crossroads of my career, reflecting on my desired future with a newborn baby.
Sure.
And at that point, I was permanently employed as a full-time human resources manager in that multinational company in the automotive industry for just over a decade. So with that being said, I gained lots of wonderful exposure and experience. And I thought, why not share that knowledge, and empower people? And the most needed, I felt, was the SME space. And that is why it was my desire to also have flexibility as a mom. So that was twofold. So it's making an impact in the SME space and also having flexibility as a mom. And so sharing my knowledge and my purpose, which is to empower, was key for me.
Amazing. You just gave birth, brought someone into the world, and you're like, hey, let me bring a business into the world. Amazing. Really.
You could say that. And then, just on that point, so as I mentioned, our company's purpose, EmpowerLink Services, is one word, is to empower. And it aligns with my personal purpose as well. And the name serves as a reminder of what we strive for daily, to empower and help close the missing HR gap with our clients that we serve, and also to bring solutions through other service providers and be the missing HR link and service link to our clients. So what's in a name? Yeah, so that's the meaning behind the name.
Okay, I understand. So I mentioned that leap of faith in 2016 briefly in the intro. What was going through your mind? So you mentioned you had given birth and brought a new baby to the world. What's going through your mind in that time leading up to registering a business, starting all of that? Yeah, I'd love to kind of see what goes on in someone's mind as they start a new venture.
With lots of hormones going with lots of hormones. If I can put it this way, but so I've had lots of hormones. So maybe, being pregnant helped me just to have the courage to take that leap of faith. But leaving full-time employment was not an easy decision.
No.
It was something that I actually pondered on and prayed about. I'm Christian, so I'm also strong in my faith, and that's part of my journey. So I prayed about it for months, since May month, and then eventually in December, after being accepted into the entrepreneurship program at False Bay TVET College, I made the hard decision to leave full-time employment. And
Mm.
also having a family, being a provider, it's not an easy decision to
Mm.
let go of something that we perceive as security, job security, to start something new, unknown. I was also the first in my family to start a business, so I didn't have other mentors besides the mentor that has walked along my journey for many years. That is Steve Reed. He's
Mm.
a coach, my mentor as well. And he gave me the courage to actually take my leap of faith. While I was listening to the radio, I heard him
Mm.
talk about entrepreneurship and what he did at Falls Bay College. And then I made the call. I made the call to him.
Wow.
I called him at Falls Bay College and I said, I know I want to start a business, but I don't know how and I don't know where to start. Do you have any advice for me? And then he told me about the program, and then I joined the program. I applied, didn't
Mm.
think I would get in. I got in, and
Amazing.
that really like pushed me to make the leap.
A real pivotal moment there. Yeah. So,
Yes.
how did you initially? Sounds like you had to leave a job with a salary, a secure salary, and how did you make ends meet initially? Like, how did that work out?
Yeah, so obviously, it wasn't just okay, I'm resigning today. So I gave notice. I had savings that I set aside,
Hmm.
and I what my approach was to work part-time while building on my business.
Mm.
So I was able to consult to my previous employer on a part-time basis while I was building. So
Great.
there was some kind of um, consistent source of income
Hmm.
while I was building, but also working, I would say part-time can hinder your progress in terms of the speed at which you do things. And so it
Right.
could also be a distraction because now you focused on part-time employment. And again, I wasn't the employee. I was consulting to them
Hmm.
and I managed to secure that contract with them to be able
Amazing.
to support my business. And I think that it works well, but at some point you have to cut the umbilical cord to employment if you really want to
Yeah.
invest in your business. I bootstrapped, started with my cell phone and my laptop,
Wow.
and didn't have any funding. And the mentorship that I received and training at Falls Bay College really, really helped me strengthen the foundation within my business.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, while obviously not ideal that stage, those are the realities of starting a business, I guess, as well. You got to live with that tension of, yeah, got to make ends meet, got to provide, but also I've got this dream. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about EmpowerLink. And it exists to bring HR best practice to small businesses. Can you share a story of a client whose business has been transformed through your work?
Yeah, sure. So we had a client who needed guidance on um, performance management and basically implementing the process from scratch. And what we did was we supported and co-created the performance management process with the leadership team. And that also empowered them to be able to share their vulnerabilities of what they don't know, because sometimes you're in a leadership role and it's expected of you to
Mm.
know.
You have all the
You
answers.
should know certain things. Well, you're a
Yeah.
leader. You should know how to have those conversations when somebody's not performing. You need to know how to have a conversation, how to set KPIs. What is a KPI? What is a key performance indicator? And key
Hmm.
performance area, outcome, key results. So it was really creating a safe space for them to firstly understand the fundamentals of performance management, and that we did through facilitated training with them.
Hmm.
Once after the training, so once they understood the principles, we also aligned it to their strategic vision, looking at their vision and their values and what kind of culture they would like to actually embody within their business, because performance and creating a culture through values alignment and reinforcement is critical. So we took into account the company values, their strategic vision, and then helped them create an implementation operational plan for what are the guides, what templates do I need to use to be able to have that conversation, the guided conversation? Do they have appropriate job descriptions, and have they defined the expectations realistically? So it's just holding their hand. And so the feedback that we received from the director was that the project and the results far exceeded his expectations. So for me, that
Incredible.
is transforming from having nothing to actually doing the process and supporting them along the way. So they are now in the process of having their one-on-one meetings, and their performance reviews, their check-ins as well. So yeah, I think that was
Wow.
when the client is happy, we are happy.
Yeah, and that must have been so rewarding to see. And are you still in touch with them? Do you still? Yeah.
Yes. So with that being said, when you implement a project, we also build in, follow-ups so
Mm,
that there is that continued support, and so that things don't basically fall into old habits,
yeah.
So just keeping them accountable and also acting as their accountability partner.
Mm, yeah. Great. Now, your passion is about people. What's one maybe unforgettable people moment that reminds you why that focus really matters to you?
Well, there've been many, and I had to think about that. But one unforgettable people moment that stands out for me is seeing the fruits of our labor. And that lies within building a strong foundation in people's careers and seeing them thrive within their own rights as HR leaders. I've
Mm,
mentored many HR interns over my 2 decades of HR experience,
hmm
and seeing them succeed, seeing my interns then become mentors, and they are now mentoring and paying it forward to the newer batch of HR interns has really been um, you basically see it's really been rewarding. You see the transformation as they maybe start out nervous, and then they have to do presentations and reports and feedbacks, chair meetings, sit in the difficult conversations,
mm,
meetings as well, and giving their insights and their inputs. Um, and staying in touch with the youth, I think it also helps you remain at the forefront of what the future of work is going to look like, who's coming into the workplace. So getting their first-hand insights from the HR interns, they share their experiences and what they expect. And as the generations go forth, you basically understand that there's a different mindset, a different way of thinking, and you
mm,
also have to evolve. And so I think that keeps us in touch with the new generations, and their perceptions and what they expect in the
mm,
workplace, which is key in building the workplace that is inclusive for everyone. So I think just in terms of internships, seeing others succeed and my mentees succeed gives me great joy, because we've paid it forward and encouraged them to pay it forward through internships and mentoring opportunities. Yeah, so
mm.
that's our contribution to the world of work and society.
Yeah, amazing. So do you guys end up doing more mentoring of HR professionals, or do you actually do a lot of the HR on behalf of a business as well? Or how do you guys actually offer your services?
Okay, so with regards to the mentorship, okay, so that's basically where you would have an aspiring HR professional. They would basically then be a private individual. But we've
Okay.
also taken on HR interns within our own organization.
Right.
And those interns get exposure in supporting our clients
Okay. Yeah.
in delivering the HR services,
Get it.
So that's basically twofold: interns within our organization,
Mm,
where we are empowering them to empower our our clients, and then we also have mentoring of HR professionals. I've also mentored entrepreneurs because I have an entrepreneurial hat as well.
For sure.
So been involved in the Youth Start City of Cape Town pitching competition, co-facilitating that with my mentor. So that was a full circle moment.
Amazing.
Being able to teach young entrepreneurs their pitching skills, because obviously I've won a few pitching competitions along the way. So
Yeah.
empowering the youth on how to pitch, and yeah, that's been another side project, but a passion project.
Sounds amazing. Tell us a little bit more about that. Let's just see, kind of dig into that a little bit more. Um, when when pitching your business, what are some of the things that you teach some of the, I guess you mentioned young people, so these younger guys, what are some of the things that you tell them and teach them around pitching your business? What are the key things to remember?
Sure. So I would definitely say that understanding your business and what problem it's solving. So who's the customer and what is the problem that you're solving? You know, when you're entering a pitching competition, there's certain criteria that the adjudicators are looking for. So understanding what the criteria is, you know, there are lots of YouTube videos on pitching. So watching those examples of strong pitches, you know, that will help you and enable you to refine your pitch deck.
Mm,
And basically making sure that you are solving a problem of your client. Knowing your numbers is critical. Understanding, practicing your script, your pitch. So writing it down in a conversational way so that it doesn't come across as if you are reading off the slides. If you are using a pitch deck, pacing yourself and not sharing too many things, but just keeping it succinct to the point. There's 10 slides usually, and it starts off with the problem, the solution, the market, the customer. Is it a growing market? So just making sure that they stick to the guidelines that the competition has set, and then practice, practice, practice,
mm,
because if you practice and video yourself, you'll be able to pick up things that you could change. Test it with an audience at home. Make sure that you don't use jargon and so forth. So there's lots of tips that we share, but the most
yeah,
important is that know your numbers. That is critical,
yeah.
and have a customer that has a problem that you are solving.
And if someone's listening and they're keen to get involved, if they're based in Cape Town, for example, what are some of those events and incubators that are in Cape Town specifically that you're involved in?
Sure. So there is the False Bay TVET College Center for Entrepreneurship. UWC has the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation if they're out in the northern suburbs in Cape Town. Then the UCT has the Genesis project as well, which is also for entrepreneurs. And then there's Black Umbrellas as well. So that's more for your established businesses that are not linked to a higher education institution. These business partners, they also offer support to young businesses that are wanting to scale their business. So those are possible options for them to explore. And they can check the City of Cape Town events as well for the Youth Start. It usually happens in April month, so they can start checking social media out in February for next year's Youth Start competition if they are under 35 and wanting to participate and pitch their business. But check social media out. There is various competitions across the country, corporates that are sponsoring those kinds of competitions. And I think that basically pitching your business helps you to improve your skills and gain brand awareness.
Yeah, amazing. And it helps you, I guess, even think through your own business clearly as well. Working on that, helping to articulate your business helps you think through it. And so, yeah, sounds amazing. But
100%.
back to your HR experience. So, over 17 years in HR, launching a company, you moved from, being employed in the corporate world to being a founder. So there's obviously quite a mindset shift that needs to happen. Tell me a little bit more about that mindset in a corporate world versus I'm now a founder. Yeah, what goes on in your mind and what kind of needs to change in terms of your thinking patterns?
It was definitely a big culture shock
Mm,
because before you had to have or you had access to multiple departments and so forth, but now you're the founder and everything boils down to you being able to execute and deliver, prioritize. So I think the fact that you're wearing many hats as the
mm,
founder initially, that was the big mindset shift that you need to understand what's the biggest priority for today,
mm,
and navigate through those and making sure that you get the right support on board because eventually you can't do everything and you can't be everything to everyone. But then there's also a challenge of making sure that you have income to be able to pay those service providers. So I
mm.
think that it's balancing the two and getting maybe fractional support. So it's not full-time support, project freelancers to come on board to assist you while you're scaling your business. So then that gives you free time at the end of the day. And prioritizing is key. So what am I focusing on today? And is this the most important thing that I need to do? And is this adding to the bottom line?
Mm. And you started adding to your team eventually. So how long did that take until you needed to scale up the team? And yeah, what did you have to do to enable that?
Sure. So initially, as I said, we worked on a part-time basis. I wasn't employed in the business per se,
Mm,
and only became full-time employed once there was enough revenue. But what my approach was to look at interns as an opportunity to develop people because I had
mm,
experience. So taking on internships, getting funding for internships, I think
mm.
that helped with covering the cost, but also understanding later on that there are limitations with what you can expect from an inexperienced individual.
Right.
As much as you want to empower them, you also need to have access to basically seasoned professionals like myself to be able to build the foundation for
Mm,
the interns then to execute. But having interns initially at the onset can can sometimes be a hindrance because there isn't that foundation laid for them to be able to then execute efficiently. So I think that those were some of the lessons that I learned
mm,
along the way, that if I could do it over, I would basically make sure that I have the basic systems in place and then take on interns to maximize the runway and the execution and
right.
being able to make an impact and add value in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the easy mistake to make is, oh, great, like cheap labor, but actually then you realize, oh, actually this requires a lot of time investment, and I don't have all of that time right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm,
think for me, it is about making sure that you utilize the skill set and they bring a lot of new ideas and they do add value, I think. But as
mm,
a mentor, you need to also have the time to be able to mentor them effectively.
mm,
And I think that you need to having systems in place helps you um, give a good internship experience for the interns coming into your organization, whether we are supporting our clients to get access to intern funding or and making sure that our clients execute their internship well, or if it's internally within our own organization, making sure that it is about the employee experience and making it a positive one, and improving on that.
mm. Now, let's talk a little bit about your various accolades. You've won some prizes and awards. And then let's take us inside one of those milestones. Maybe how did you feel personally? How did that impact also on EmpowerLink as well?
So I think having achievements is a testimony to my work ethic. It is a positive affirmation for me pursuing my dreams. And one of them that stands out for me was winning the Western Cape Entrepreneurship Recognition Award for the
Mm,
woman-owned business category in 2019.
mm,
And I remember with my one interview that I had probably about 15 years ago, I was asked a question like, what would be your biggest achievement if you could achieve anything? And,
mm.
the world was your oyster. And in that interview, I actually said I would like to win a Woman of the Year award. It was like 15 years ago.
Wow,
And yeah, around about that. And I actually fulfilled that,
amazing.
and never in my wildest dreams had I thought, you know, of the steps that I would get there, but how things come into full circle moments. So I think that stood out for me. And my mentor encouraged me to enter as many competitions as possible, not necessarily for the money. It was for the
Mm,
exposure, it was for the brand awareness, and just being in the room of the people that you would not necessarily get even
mm,
an appointment with. So I think that
right.
being in the room with large corporates that are sponsors, and as a
Mm,
result, I was able to get support through enterprise development programs
mm,
with those large corporates, being able to offer HR masterclasses to their entrepreneurs and their uh, incubation programs. So there's lots of, besides the prizes, there's lots of other opportunities that come through
mm,
conversations after the competition. They want to know how things are going and, give you support where you can, but it's about understanding how you can add value to them. And I think that stood out. Yeah, with that competition, there were several rounds of pitching. It was quite daunting.
mm,
And again, it's about practice, 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 knowing your business, knowing how you're going to solve your client's problem, and understanding the guidelines of what they are looking for as adjudicators, and making sure that that is covered in your pitch. So, yeah.
mm. Incredible. Yeah, so good. You mentioned enterprise development programs. What are those?
So within the South African landscape, there is something that's called broad-based Black economic empowerment.
Mm,
And one of the principles, one of the elements of triple B double E, that's the acronym for it, is enterprise development, where large corporates would basically spend a percentage of their revenue on developing entrepreneurs and having entrepreneurship programs. And
mm,
so if you are an entrepreneur, perhaps that's an opportunity for you to explore entrepreneurship development programs or initiatives, just to even search that
mm,
and to get onto those programs. And as a result of those large corporates sponsoring those initiatives, they basically get points, and that then gives them their score for the triple B double E on enterprise development. So it's quite a technical thing. So I hope
mm.
I gave it justice by answering the question.
No, that's great. And I think people can obviously Google it a little bit as well and look
Yes,
into that. But I think, yeah, really helpful. Thank you. So, in terms of entrepreneurship, it's pretty tough, right? It's you're going to get some really, really tough moments. Now, was there possibly someone or something that actually then threatened the dream? I'm sure there must have been something or someone. But also, yeah, tell us a little bit about some of those tougher moments and what actually saved it in the end.
sure. I think 2020 was a tough year for everyone, and
Mm,
we were not immune to that. So I think our sales took a huge dip, and that can be a challenge for all businesses at any given time. And we were no different in 2020, but that year stood out specifically for us.
Mm.
Um, and when someone asks me, "How's business?" You usually get that question, "How's business going?"
Yeah.
My standard answer or response is it's a work in progress, because sales is a work in progress always. You're adding your leads and prospects to the funnel, and you're looking at new opportunities. So we had to pivot, going from obviously in person to online. Fortunately, all of our software, when we built our system, was cloud-based, so that was an
Mm.
easy transition. But making sure that where people are cutting jobs, making sure that you still remain relevant was one of the important things. So one of the key aspects in 2020 was health and safety. And
Mm.
so that was never really a support service that we offered, but we pivoted and we offered that as a value added support service in our business,
Brilliant.
where we actually got a an implementing partner, and we partnered with them to help support our clients and to give advice. I did some free webinars as well through the Cape Chamber of Commerce. And so that was basically to help with brand awareness, because now people couldn't go to events. And how do we
Mm.
still maintain marketing and getting our name out there? So I offered several free HR webinars, one on mental health, on stress management, because it was really a tough time, even health and safety, key strategies on COVID-19 back in the
Mm.
day. So that was what we did. And then as a result, we remained relevant. We listened to our customers, and we tried to pivot by giving the support that they need. And what is relevant in 2020 is not necessarily going to be relevant in 2025. So it's always having those constant conversations with your clients. What are your challenges? What keeps you awake at night? And finding a way to connect the dots to solve their problems, even if it's not you. If you know
Mm.
somebody that can help them solve a logistics problem, it's not an HR related thing, and you could help your client will remember you for always going the extra mile.
So, what is the most counterintuitive lesson you've learned from your time with SMEs? You're obviously dealing with SMEs a lot, maybe even something that surprises other founders.
Not sure if it's going to come as a surprise, but don't fall in love with your product. I know the business is your baby,
Mhm.
and your service is you think it's the best thing since that and your clients really need it. But if your client wants something else, then you need to see how you can offer that solution, find a way,
Mm.
because there is a demand, and now you need to meet the demand. So I think that your clients have the answers of what they need. You just need to ask the right question. So asking the right question, actively listening to your clients, and then
Mm.
building the solution. So I think market research is critical when you're starting out your business, but even for seasoned entrepreneurs, what's relevant today might not be relevant in 5 years' time. So having those conversations on a regular basis about where are you at right now? Has your need shifted? How can we how can we create a better client experience for you? And do iterative versions of your offering. So you test it, you you
Mm.
you you ask the question, you test the market, um, and then you ask again, and then you test and you refine. So and then repeat. So I think that making sure that you get customer feedback, offering, refining it, test it again. And I think that that's what is done in agile. So
Mm.
also trying to be an agile HR business.
Amazing. Yeah. So constantly getting that feedback, but iterating
Feedback loops,
towards
yeah,
a
yeah.
good
A
good
60,
solution.
90-day plan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the most important insight there for me is really listening to your customers, listening to the market. Yeah.
100%.
Mm. So, you completed your entrepreneurship training, and you were a part of incubators. What are some of those lessons that you learned in that time that you still kind of lean on a day-to-day basis in your daily routines? Some of those things still kind of deeply instilled in you. Yeah. What are those things?
Sure. And you might have heard it before. Know your numbers.
Mm.
Always be mindful of how you're spending your time and your money.
Right.
And if the activities you're involved in today is contributing to the bottom line or contributing to growing your revenue as the founder, obviously your team would have different focus areas, but also making sure that your team understands the priorities and you communicate that clearly to your team, because ultimately you have maybe an annual target, and that should then be broken down into your quarterly targets, your monthly targets, and your weekly targets. And I'm not just talking about numbers in money terms, but there's also
Mm.
supporting activities that contribute to you
Yeah.
being able to achieve those numbers, whether it's people development in customer service to be able to deliver an exceptional client experience.
Mm.
So, so it's about understanding, am I doing the most important thing for today?
Yeah.
And eating the frog first. So eating
Mm.
the most difficult task, the most important task first thing in the morning,
Ah.
getting it done in focus time, and then continuing the rest of the day. Because there's a book called Eating the Frog, and basically
Okay.
it's making sure that you handle the most challenging thing first that
While your
usually
mind's
people
fresh.
store
Yeah.
while your mind's fresh in focus time,
Yeah.
blocking out 90 minutes just to get that done. So it's
Yeah.
out of the way,
And we're
and
just
then
so
you
good
can
at,
focus.
procrastinating as well, especially.
Yeah.
So if you tackle that hard one first, I guess that, yeah, that's
Oh,
really brilliant, brilliant insight as well. Yeah. What for you? You mentioned some of those metrics. What are some of those ones that you guys track and that you keep on looking back to which metrics are important to you?
sure. So one is definitely your leads, your number of client visits, your revenue, your marketing activities. What are you doing to be able to connect with the right people? What
Mm.
events are you going to be attending? Then it's your people development. What are the training activities that you're doing? How does that align to you building the capability that you need to support your clients?
Mm.
Then it is also your operational excellence. So we use the principles of the balanced scorecard. So it's operational excellence, learning and growth, customer service, and finance.
Mm. So just to slowly bring this to a close, looking ahead, where do you see EmpowerLink maybe in the next 3 to 5 years? Um, you mentioned in your bio as well about building a legacy for your family and community. What does that look like?
Sure. So over the next 3 to 5 years, I think I envision EmpowerLink Services to be a leading force in the HR consulting landscape for SMEs in South Africa, but also
Mm.
taking it beyond once we have established our footprint locally and nationally
Mm.
in South Africa, championing ethical leadership, inclusive employment practices, and sustainable business development through people development. So making sure that businesses are sustained by effective people practices, and we part of the journey, part of
Mm.
their journey, helping them map out those processes and practices, equipping them with the tools of how to do it, teaching them how to fish and not fish for them. So
Mm.
empowering them with the knowledge so that they can implement it while we are away, but we are a phone call away if they need support. And then our goal is to deepen the presence nationally, as I said, in the underserved communities and emerging markets through strategic partnerships and technology. So being able to scale using a digital platform, which is something that I'd like to work on in the next 1 to 2 years. So that's something that we
That
are
sounds
looking
exciting.
at. Yeah.
Amazing.
And yeah, so I think it's about building a legacy that's rooted in empowerment, excellence, ethics, and equity. Yeah. And from my family's perspective, this business represents not just the livelihood, but a generational blueprint for resilience, entrepreneurship, starting within our home,
Wow.
and that my kids also see it as a vehicle for them in the future. And it's purpose-driven success, not just to make money. I think money is the last thing that I think of, and my mentor doesn't necessarily like that. But, it's about passion and being able to serve and add value meaningfully in the communities that we serve.
Yeah. You mentioned your kids. How old are they?
9 and 11.
Is any of that rubbing off on them yet in terms of entrepreneurship? How they've,
Definitely, I would
yeah?
say definitely. My daughter says, "Mommy, I want to be like you one day," and
Oh, wow.
she's the same age
Amazing.
as the business. So yeah, we're going
Sure.
on 9 years. Yeah,
Oh,
this year.
sweet. Now we looked ahead. Let's look back. If you could travel back to the start of your journey, what piece of advice would you whisper into your own ear?
I definitely say speak as often as possible to your clients, asking them what the challenges are, define your offer and solve it as I mentioned earlier. Knowing your numbers is critical. And refine. You have to evolve with the times, and don't get caught up just being stuck and this is what we offer and that's that. One of our clients, our newest clients, recently asked us to provide vetting services, which we have done as a side service, but now we've insourced it within our business and now we're going to offer it to our clients as another revenue stream. So for us, it's about listening. That was listening to them and putting it into practice. And they wanted the vetting services to be done on site. So that's taking the service to them instead of them having to manage the logistics of many people going to different locations to do their background checks. So I think that it's definitely listening and meeting the needs, meeting the clients where they're at, and
Amazing.
you'll stay in business.
Yeah. Listening to your clients' needs, worth its weight in gold, that insight. Like all the mums in the world say, you have 2 years and 1 month. So listen. Just to end off, like to do kind of a bit of a rapid fire either or. So you get to choose one of the 2 options. So let's start off with teleportation or time travel.
Time travel.
Why?
I could go back into the minds of the innovators and interview them just like you're interviewing me and asking them their gems and their insights. Yeah. And
Pizza.
could go forward as well, you could
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Well,
as
yeah,
well.
let's not talk about the complications of that, right? Pizza forever or burgers forever?
Definitely pizzas. My family is a pizza family,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm guided by my kids.
Binge Netflix or hike a mountain?
Hike a mountain. Nature just heals the soul.
Amazing. Last one, and no pressure here, but books or podcasts?
Podcast.
Oh, well said, well said.
I'm an
Terine,
audiobook person, actually.
oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay. Terine, it's been such a privilege to chat with you and so wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Thanks.
Take care.